In this video I'm going to tell you about Trump's tariffs and what the impact is going to be. Okay, right, I've got some notes because this is kind of important and I don't want to miss anything. Okay, right, so I'm going to explain what is happening and why. I'm also going to tell you, you need to watch to the end because I'm going to recommend what you need to do to sort out your life financially from the impact of this, and what I'm doing and therefore you can do that could, really help you. And also I'm going to talk about why I am educated enough to tell you about this. Okay, right, so let's get going. So Trump has issued tariffs, firstly on all cars not made in America, 25%, and then various tariffs on all the countries around the world. So what is a tariff? A tariff is a tax on imported goods, effectively. Who pays the tariff? It's paid by usually the importer, and the importer will pass on that to the people who are buying it. Okay, so maybe the supermarket or whatever it is, Okay, right. So right, about me. Okay, so I've studied economics at degree level, and I specialised in international trade. So I'm a bit of an expert on international trade, to be honest. And I wrote, back in 1994, I wrote a paper on the North American Free Trade Agreement, specifically in America. I predicted what will be the impact of the North American Free Trade Agreement, and my tutor at the time told me I should publish it because I was the only economist in the world saying what was going to happen, and I was correct, 100%. So basically I was predicting that multinational companies are very mobile, and when it suits them, they will move. And what I was predicting was that manufacturing companies in America will close down plants and open up the same plants in Mexico, because the wages in America were 10 times the wages of Mexico. Plus there's other costs as well, like environment, health and safety, minimum wage, which doesn't exist in lots of developing countries. It was a no-brainer, basically. And globalization has proven that you can give people the same equipment, and and Mexicans can make stuff as good as Americans, and they did, and then it moved on to China, and China, the multinational companies have moved to China for the same reason, far cheaper. Not only that, the land is cheaper, buying a plant is cheaper. They'll open up a plant, put the same equipment in, train the people the same, they make the stuff just as good as American can. So that's why companies have left America, because American wages are the highest in the world. Plus, on top of that, you've got environmental costs, health and safety costs, minimum wage, all those factors. But in America, you've also got the healthcare system as well, which is also very expensive. In fact, if you're an American watching this now, you probably know you will only take a job if healthcare is included in the package, and dental care. If it's not, it's going to cost you $1,000, $2,000 a month. That's a major factor. Again, in developing countries, they don't have any of that. There's an abundance of people that will work for $1 an hour, $2 an hour, and no healthcare has to be paid. If they get sick, sorry, I'll get somebody else. That's how it works, and that's sadly they're just multinational companies, and for one thing, and that is profit, bottom line. Okay, right. So So let's get into it. Right. So is America being taken advantage of? So Trump said that on last week when he uh, issued all the tariffs, he said, you know, they're taking advantage of us. And yes and no. So for instance, two big ones are China and the EU. China has been, it's as a state, it supports its own businesses. So not only has it got cheap labour, it is hungry to grow, and it's prepared to support the companies in various ways. So yeah, them are not tariffs, but they act the same way as tariffs. And the EU puts in lots of non-tariff barriers. I personally, you know, I'm talking to you from the UK now. We were in the EU, we've left Brexit, and ironically, it's benefiting us this time. And to be honest, I think, in my opinion, the EU is corrupt. I really do think it is, and I was glad that Britain left. So yeah, so yes and no. I feel sorry for the other companies, because other countries, sorry, that tariffs are being imposed on, because it's just been, you know, I'll tell you how they've actually done it. But the likes of Sri Lanka and places like that, Sri Lanka nearly went bust last year. It's on its knees, that economy, and if he puts in like 44%, I don't know how much they export to America, but you know, it's going to hurt them, you know, and I just feel for developing countries like that. But anyway, so yeah, America are being taken advantage probably by China and the EU, you know, and so historically, I'm just looking at historical examples is not good. The last time that America, it's 100 years ago when America was imposing tariffs like this, and the Great Depression happened, and they only got out of the Great Depression by cutting tariffs. It doesn't look good. So yeah, right. So will it work? So basically, Trump wants to, because of what I explained at the start, that American plants are closing down, and it's the multinational companies that are doing it. They close down a plant, open up somewhere else where they're paying 1/10 the wages, plus everything else is cheaper. They can make, and they'll sell the goods at pretty much the same price, maybe a bit cheaper, but they're making far more profit. And that's why the stock market has gone up so much over the last 30 years, you know. So mainly the big companies plus other things, but so yeah, will it work? Well, let's see. So what he wants to do, he wants to make companies produce in America, and fair enough, that is a good thing, you know what I mean. You know, sadly they shouldn't have left. In fact, it was the Clinton administration with NAFTA that started it all, really. I mean, it may have been happening anyway, but once NAFTA happened, the multinational companies moved to Mexico, and now China, what China did was the government actually, I believe they actively approached multinational companies to say, look, you can make your stuff at a fraction of the price if you come to China, and they did. And you know, it was, you know, I think Clinton made a big mistake with NAFTA, and so yeah, so will it work? So you see, it's too simplistic. It's too simplistic to think will it work, because there's so many factors involved. So for instance, there's some companies now saying they're going to increase production in America, so it's partially working already. JCB have said they're going to double the size of the plant that they're already planning on opening, so that's a positive. If I'm not mistaken, I'm trying to think who it was. I think it was Rolls-Royce. Rolls-Royce, yeah, I just read today that Rolls-Royce they're going to invest in, they've already got a plant in America. I think they've got more than one. I think they employ 6,000 people in America. So they're going to increase that. So that's another positive. So yeah, it's kind of already working. But is it going to work massively? I don't know. I don't know if it is, and I don't even know if it's going to be worth the pain it's going to cause. So for instance, there's far more things involved. You know, the American wages are the highest in the world, plus healthcare costs, land, building a plant. Them are all factors. You know, so for instance, you know, some big tariffs. The 20% to the EU, quite big tariff. Will they move to America for it? They might open a plant. You know, they might open a plant for America. They might do that. That might be the tactic, that they'll open a plant in America and produce thingy. But it's not just that. For instance, like car parts. Car parts are also 25%. Car parts are made in lots of different countries, and it's most car plants are just assembly plants. They're putting the parts together. The parts are made somewhere else. They ship them in from somewhere else. So it's not that simplistic. It's more complicated. You know, you're talking the amount of parts in a car might be coming from 20 different companies who are all over the world. Are they all going to move to America just to get? I don't think so. I don't think so. So there's alternatives. So for instance, multinational companies could A, cut costs, B, move to another country that's even cheaper than where they're already making it. So for instance, I just did a quick Google yesterday. What was the lowest wages in the world? Okay, and it's Rwanda. Rwanda in Africa, the lowest wages in the world. Okay, probably $1 a day. I am not joking. People earn $1 a day in Africa, and that is not. I know that for a fact. And Rwanda's a stable country, and it's a safe country. And if it's got the infrastructure, I'm surprised multinational companies aren't moving there, because they can make stuff for peanuts. So yeah, they may not necessarily move to America. They may think, okay, we'll cut our costs in another way. We'll move somewhere else. You know, so it may not work. I have a feeling it will partially work. You know, so yeah. So what will there be a trade war now then? So Canada has said they're going to do reciprocal tariffs against America, and China has said the same, and now the EU are saying they're going to do the same. Now the EU are having a meeting on Wednesday, I think it is, on thingy, and they want, the headline I just read was that they want unity, in that they want to impose tariffs on America. So that is going to affect America as well. Now, if Trump then wants to reciprocate further, then you've got a trade war. You know, you've got America raising tariffs to start with, EU then and China raising tariffs in response, Trump raising them further, or something else, then taking action against that. It's not a good scenario at all. Okay, so I think I've covered what will the multinational companies do. Will they move to America? They may not. They may move somewhere else, like Rwanda. Okay, and it takes time as well. So for instance, I'm going to get into the implications in a little while, but you know, it takes time to set up a plant in America. So for instance, you've got to make the decision to buy the land and build the plant. It's not usually that a plant, you can buy one off the shelf that's suitable for all the machinery that's involved in manufacturing. It's not that simple. It takes years. It takes years. So I'm going to get onto the implications of it, and is Trump going to do this? Is this a long-term thing? Is it for years? I'm also going to, I want to tell you what I believe Trump and his advisors of how they've come up with all the percentage numbers. So last, was it Thursday, Friday, he had his list of companies with China at the top and EU and everywhere else, yeah, and he basically saying this is what the tariffs they're charging us, and so therefore we're gonna charge them 50%. Okay, so are they charging tariffs? Well, I've mentioned about China in the EU. That might be the case. China does influence things quite considerably, and so does the EU with their regulations. But the other countries, I don't think so. I think the other countries, the tariffs are very small, if at all. There might be none. But apparently, how they've worked out these numbers, I was reading just the other day that they've worked out the balance of trade. So what they've done is worked out how many billions America buys from that country, and how many billions America they buy from America, and divided one number by the other, and guess what? It comes up with that percentage. It's too much of a coincidence that the percentages all match. So that's what they've done. That's like putting a 10-year-old in charge of the economy. It's ridiculous, absolutely ridiculous. If that's what they've done, and the numbers seem to suggest that, it's just madness. It's absolute madness. That's it. That's not the case at all. And not only that, why do Americans buy lots of Japanese cars, for instance? Well, they're reliable cars, very reliable. Why do they buy German cars? German engineering is probably the best in the world. They're absolutely brilliant engineering. You know, why do all the celebrities in America like Range Rovers? Because they're the luxury SUV, probably the best in the world. They want, it's supply and demand. They want them. That's why. If they want a Range Rover, it might cost over $100,000, but they're a good car. That's why they want them, you know. And so I don't think, you know, you'll get some people who will buy American, fair enough, you know what I mean. And he also said about Japanese, 94% of cars sold in Japan are Japanese. Well, that's because maybe they want reliable cars, you know, and they know theirs are the most reliable. I mean, I've got a Japanese car. It's ridiculously reliable. And so, you know, and I've had a German car. I used to have an old Porsche. Years ago, I bought a 25-year-old Porsche. The engineering on it was out of this world. It was like, it was head and shoulders above everything else. It was ridiculous. I was like, wow, this car is like a 1991 car, and it had a heated windscreen. The front windscreen was heated. Start the car, the windscreen cleared. Even though it was covered in ice, it was crazy. Really good, you know. And you know, why do people buy Italian cars? Because they're beautiful, they're gorgeous, you know. And then, you know, and Britain luxury cars. Britain's known for luxury cars, you know. So that's why it's supply and demand. It's not that they're manipulating the market. And there is, to a small extent, you know. I personally think that it may have been better putting in smaller tariffs on China and the EU and not the others. Anyway, right, so okay, so I've compared it to doing surgery with an axe. Yeah, but I think it's worse than that. It's like doing surgery with an axe when you're not even looking at the patient. That's what it's like. It's mental. Anyway, but he's that's Trump's way. In that, I like him, you know what I mean, but I don't agree with all his stuff. But it's refreshing to see a businessman in charge. He's not a politician, as you probably aware. Politicians are good liars, basically, and the best liar gets to the top. That's how politics seems to work, both in America and in Britain and probably everywhere. Um, you know, so they're good at lying, and Trump is pretty genuine. You know what I mean? I think in that he seems to be his reasoning is genuine in that he wants to increase jobs in America, which fair enough, you know what I mean. But another reason is tax. He will raise quite a lot of money by imposing the taxes, so the import tariffs are taxes. So he will make a lot of money from that. Now then, if he's going to use that to cut taxes in America, that will have a positive effect on Americans, but that tells me that it's a long-term thing, which is very worrying, because just like he just put them on last week, he could take them off next week. But if you're lowering taxes on the back of it, that says to me that it's a long-term thing. So that is worrying. Right, okay, so next. So, yeah, so one other thing as well, about him wanting to effectively force companies to make in America. Some will, but some won't. It's you know, I mean, you know, cheap labour to a multinational company is probably like a drug. They're addicted to it. Are they going to move to America where the wages are the highest in the world? Don't see how they think it. It'd probably be worse than the cost of the tariff on for them. You know what I mean? The difference in costs. So I'm comparing it to like closing the gate when the horse has bolted. You know, in that they've gone. Are they going to come back? Some may not. And not only that, it's a bit more than that. Not only is the horse bolted, the horse doesn't want to come back. That's what it might be like, unfortunately. You know. Okay, so right. So now I'm going to get on to how it will affect the rest of the world. First of all, so the rest of the world, right? Okay, so the tariffs have been put on immediately. Okay, so what that will mean is companies supplying to America are going to have to put their prices up. Okay, now typically if you put your prices up, that will lead to lower sales. So that's going to mean less profit for the companies from those countries where the tariff has been imposed. So obviously less profits. The companies are going to think, okay, we may need to cut costs. We may not be making as much stuff, so they may start, you know, they may start laying people off. So that's going to affect what is already fragile economies. You know, we've only just got over the COVID debacle and then the energy crisis caused by the invasion of Ukraine. I'm sure everyone can remember that it's not long ago we had 10% inflation, and so economies are not growing as much as they were, so they're only just recovering. The last thing they need now is tariffs put in place. So I think Trump is making a big mistake here. I really do. So it's going to, it could, like I said, they're already fragile, so it could push them into recession. It could push the UK, the EU, and all these countries into recession. And as for the small countries that develop it already, they're already on the knees, you know what I mean? So God knows what happened there. But, so now I'll get on to what is it going to do for America. Okay, so initially we've already seen the stock market dropped massively on Friday. Well, 5% significant. It also dropped the day before. So that's already affecting people. If you've got an investment, you've got investments in the stock market, you've got a pension. My pension's just took a 10% hit, and I'm sure it's the same for everybody's, because over the 3 days, it's gone down 10%, that's not good. And what's going to be the impact if China imposes counter tariffs, and the EU and Canada? It's going to drop again, so you could see another 10% drop. Then that's 20% in a couple of weeks. That's pretty bad. That's worse than the COVID drop, I think. It's a significant thing, and if these are for the long term, it's not going to bounce back. That's the initial thing. So obviously, people's investments have took a major hit. So next, what else is it going to cost? Is it's going to start? So pensions have been hit, and I've mentioned trade war. Oh, one interesting thing: Warren Buffett, the guy is so shrewd. He sold hundreds of billions of his stock recently before this, and I think he's heard Trump talking about tariffs. And he's thought he could see what's going to happen if he imposes tariffs. The stock market's going to crash, And to be honest, I should have sold my pension, to be honest. He's the only one that's took major action, to be honest. I think no one expected tariffs of this size. So what Warren Buffett will do, he'll wait till the drop's finished, wait till if any trade war happens, wait till it settles at a much lower point than it is, and he'll go straight back into the market, buying quality shares that will probably go up in the long term, So yeah, that's interesting. So what's the impact on America? So this year, 2025, so don't forget, I predicted NAFTA correctly, okay? I was the only economist in the world that did it. I was the first one to do it. Okay, I didn't publish it. I should have done. My tutor told me I should have done, and he even said he was going to do it if I didn't. So because no one else was saying it. So what's going to happen? Inflation. So you're going to see inflation in America this year, because any stocks that are already in place in America, they've not had the tariffs imposed on them because they've already gone through the ports. So for instance, all the foreign cars that are in America now, they're thinking, so now's a great time to buy a Range Rover or a BMW or whatever, because the tariff's not been imposed yet, but they're going to go up by 25% probably, I've noticed Jaguar Land Rover have actually suspended exporting cars to America, which is interesting. I'm surprised at that. But maybe they think that they won't sell. I think they will still sell, because if you can afford a Range Rover at 100 grand, you can afford 125. But anyway, inflation is going to go up. So you could be looking at, it's going to go up and it's going to keep climbing. Okay, you could in a year's time be looking at 10% inflation again in maybe a year or two's time. If these tariffs are long term, if Trump intends to keep them in, then inflation is just going to go up and keep going up. Okay, so that's going to hit everybody, he may lower taxes, which counters that a bit. you know, that he's using that for taxes, but then that tells you that he's in it for the long term, and that it's going to you know, it's going to be a really bad scenario. But anyway, so inflation is going to go up. So now, sadly, economists only seem to have one tool to combat inflation. Now, they don't like inflation going above the target's typically 2%, but it's already above that, I think, if I'm not mistaken. So they're going to raise interest rates. It's the only thing they do. For some reason, the only tool they use is interest rates, and that hits the man in the street again. You know, so you've got your prices of everything going up, and then your mortgage goes up, your car loan goes up, your credit card goes up. You know, and not only that, companies, when you're talking about the base rate, which is what we're talking about, you know, the Bank of England, the Federal Reserve, the European Bank, they're all the ones who set the base rate, and then all interest rates are based on that. So if they raise interest rates, then it's more costly for companies to borrow money. So then that impacts companies again, hits their profits again, and you know, it's going to make it difficult for companies. So if people have got less money and it's costing more, that's the scenario where businesses that are already struggling go bust. And so I'm thinking, in the short term, I've put inflation up, interest up, okay? In the long term, if this goes over a year or two, you're going to see GDP fall, that's gross domestic product, that's the growth of the country. You're going to see that fall. You're going to see it fall all over the world, to be honest, but particularly in America, unless Trump uses the money from tariffs to lower the interest rates for company finance, perhaps that could possibly affect that. By the way, going back to cars, Trump imposed something that was really good, I thought, and that was the interest. If you buy an American car, the interest on it is a tax deductible, and that's a good move. And to be honest, I think that would have been enough, you know, because that makes American cars cheaper, you know. So I don't know, to impose a 25% tariff on plus that seems excessive. Anyway, so I think there'll be a drop in growth, and if it goes on things that there's not large stocks of, so it's not going to happen on cars to start with, because the existing stocks are there already. They've not had the tariffs applied. But what you can get is you can get price gouging. And what that is where, because he's imposed, say, a 25% tariff on cars, even though it only applies to cars imported from today, if you like, or from Friday, the ones they've got in stock, they may just put 25% on all of them to try to increase their profits, even though it's not cost them 25% more. You know, like for instance, a car dealer. If the car dealer, let's say Toyota, it's not actual Toyota, if it's a private dealer who's basically bought the cars off Toyota, then the tariffs don't apply yet, you know, if they've already been there. So that's price gouging, where they're using an excuse. So then if someone comes in and they put 25% on, oh yeah, that's the tariffs, and it's not, you know. So you can get that, and it wouldn't surprise me if some do that, you know. as a way to increase profits, because they might be thinking, you know what, we're going to sell less cars, so we might as well jack the price up now, and well, while we can, because they'll make more profit now, less profit in the future. So, and talking of the future, the stock market has dropped straight away, and the reason that has dropped straight away is the stock market is always forward-looking. So they're not really, believe it or not, the price of the share now is really, they think where it's going to, you know, they're thinking ahead, and if they think it's going to go down, that's why the price immediately drops. They think it's going to go down. They're factoring in the future price, and it's the same when one goes up. You know, if let's you know, Rolls-Royce has signs a new deal to make engines for thousands of planes, then that's a positive thing, and the price would probably go up because the company's going to get better. So yeah, that's why the stock market, and like I said already, the stock market, if there's a trade war, you will see more drops in the stock market, you know, and until it could carry on dropping for a while, until it reaches the point where they think this is the level, you know, the market will have its level. And you know, as you saw with COVID, there was a huge drop, but it bounced back because the stock market is very future forward looking, very forward looking. So, and soon as things started to improve, you know, like the lockdowns are going to be ending, all that, the stock market was bouncing back, you know. So, and that's another thing, if you reverse it to the tariffs, the stock market will bounce back quickly, because it will go back to how it was before. But if he's not reversing it, it could carry on going down for a long time. It could lose a lot more. So it's not good. So yeah, so in the short term, this year you're going to see inflation in America. You might see inflation in other places if they impose tariffs on America. But obviously companies that aren't importing American goods won't be affected by it, you know. In fact, I was just checking my pension earlier, and some of the shares have gone up. You know, most of them have gone down, but some of us have gone up a bit because they're not affected by it, you know. Okay, so my final thing that I want to get to tell you about is, what do you need to do to counter this, you know? And what I've been looking into for the last year or two is, what this channel is about really, is making money online. And so I've been looking into the different ways of making money online, and when I look into something, I research it thoroughly, and I've found what I believe are the best ways to make money online. You know, I want something where I don't employ people. I don't I want it to basically be working on autopilot. I don't want to be making logos for someone. I don't want to be selling stuff that I've got to package up. I want something to be as automated as possible. And so what I believe are the best, one of the best ways to make money online is affiliate marketing. Affiliate marketing is powerful, you know, and if you know what affiliate marketing is, it's where you've probably participated in it. Whenever you read a blog and someone recommends a product and you click that link and you go through to the product and you buy it, could be an Amazon product or whatever, that's affiliate marketing. And so, you know, the person that recommended it will get a commission, you know, and that person wrote the blog one time, or made the YouTube video one time, or whatever it is, you know, and people can come along every day and buy something. They can click on that link and buy something and a commission will come through. So affiliate marketing is a great way. You have to put in the work, you have to learn it to start with, which is what I've been doing, and then you set it all up, and once it's all set up properly, you know, you recommend goods that people want, goods and services that people want, and if they like it, they buy it. You know, if it's a good product at a good price, they'll buy it, and if they buy it, you get a commission. And if it's a popular product, you could sell hundreds or thousands per week. And it is a business where I've been following various people who are making millions. They're literally making millions at it, and some of them have got other people working for them, but you don't have to be like that. You can do it on your own, and it's something you can do from home. You know, all you need is a laptop or a PC or even a phone. You can do it from a phone, and it's as lots of people can say, a side hustle or a small business. It is a business, but it's something that can grow, and it can do so well that you make more money from that than you do your day job. And guess what? You can think, you know what? I'm leaning into this. Forget the job, and you can be self-employed, and make more money from affiliate marketing than you did from your day job. It is really worth learning. Okay, so that's what this channel is all about, really. I've done a bit of a pivot on this because I know economics and I know international trade, and I'm making a YouTube video of it because it'll help my channel. But really, my channel is really about making money online, and so I'm going to recommend this to people because I think it's a great way as an alternative to doing a 9-to-5 job. It really is. You could either have it to supplement your 9-to-5 or replace it, and you may never look back. But so what I'm going to do is, in the description below, I'm going to leave some links. I'm going to leave a link to my so you can join my email list, and in that there'll be a free training course on affiliate marketing. And secondly, I'm going to list the 2 best things that I have found, 2 the really like funnel systems, but they're almost completely automated, and that's what I like about them. Very little for me to do, and that's why I have joined them both, and I recommend you do as well. So I'm going to put the link down below to those 2. They are very good, and they can make a lot of money, and that's why I've joined them. I fully intend to make affiliate marketing my income, and I've spent probably a few $1,000s on courses and various things, and I'm going to pass in this channel. I'm going to start doing some training. Mainly the videos I've done so far, I've been recommending various products that I've been approved to recommend, if you like, that I think are good, but I'm also going to do some training in this course and through my email as well. So if you do want to subscribe to my email list, you'll get a free course anyway, and I'll send you emails about what I'm learning on affiliate marketing, and I'll recommend products that I think are good. So yeah, so I would definitely recommend the two products that I'm going to put below, and I'll put a link to my email list as well. Okay, so yeah, so let's hope Trump changes his mind and reverses the tariffs. Otherwise, there's going to be a lot of pain. There really is, and it could cause a global recession or worse. So yeah, so also if you like this video, please subscribe, and my future videos probably won't be about international trade or economics. It's going to be about making money online, which, we all need money. So if you're interested in that, I would subscribe. And like I said, check out the links below, and if you want to subscribe to my email list, then do so, and you'll get a free course. Okay, all right, okay, thanks for that.